Hello, this is Fabian Zimmer, the product manager for GitLab Geo, and today I'm going to give you a quick overview of what we're going to try and accomplish in 12.10, the next upcoming GitLab release. So the most important thing to know is that quite a few items on the list for 12.10 were already scheduled for 12.9, so we're taking a little bit longer to finish those. We do still believe that those are valuable things to finish, so 12.10 is really a continuation of 12.9. to a certain extent. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Geo on GitLab.com. We are in the process of rolling out Geo to staging for GitLab.com. This is important because it will allow us to use Geo at scale. We've already discovered a range of issues with this. The one thing that is currently missing, that is going to get finished at 12.10, is the monitoring for staging. So we are currently in the process of enabling Grafana dashboards to monitor and see if there are any problems with the deployment, but that is essentially the thing that is missing aside from some documentation. The next thing is the Geo self-service framework. You've heard me talk about that before, perhaps. The idea here is that we need to accelerate how we are able to add new data types to Geo so that they are replicated, which is important for failover and also for teams who would like to use the data closer to where they are. So for 12.9, we were working on package file replication and also on package file verification. We were hoping to finish all remaining items here in 12.9, but this is turning out to be a little bit more work than anticipated. So we are going to roll this over to 12.10 and hope to accomplish it there, which is the first sort of data type that deals with files or blobs. Verification, we are also continuing to work on. There's quite a bit more work planned here for the next releases, so we're doubling down on this. The initial parts here are also taking a little bit longer, but those are the two main things that we are continuing to work on in 12.10. So those items here will roll over to the 12.10 release. The next thing is the front end for the self-service replicables, or more specifically, a GraphQL API that actually allows the front end to retrieve all the data that we are creating in the backend. So the GraphQL API is also scheduled initially for 12.9 and will now move into 12.10 because it is not quite there yet. Lastly, we are also working on improvements for the overall failover processes. And after a successful POC, we are going to create a command line tool that pauses and resumes all replication on the secondary. This will also need to be implemented in 12.10. Also, given that we are going to move over to Postgres 11 with the 13.0 release, we are also verifying that installations with Postgres 11 are actually working okay. The preliminary results are very positive, but we haven't quite wrapped up all of this, and because we want to be thorough, this is something that we are also going to finish in 12.10. Then lastly, and this is about essentially redirecting or proxying requests from users on secondaries when some repositories are not synced. We are going to hopefully finish the functionality for HTTP, but for SSH, we are looking to redirect also to a primary when this is, essentially when selective sync is enabled. This is good for the user experience because it means that somebody who is asking as a primary for a project, even though if it is not there, it will just proxy dynamically or transparently to the primary. This is a stretch goal, given that we have quite a few other things going on. So this is not something I have applied the milestone yet, but if we have some spare time and capacity, we will want to do this. And these are those items. The last thing that we are actually adding in 12.10 is to make it easier for our users to identify cases in which data should be re-verified or if there are any problems. And this is a first outcome of our user interviews with some systems administrators. And we're going to essentially create an overview where it is a lot easier for the overall sync information here to get some details, and then also a link to more information that is more actionable for users. So rather than just having a percentage here, when you hover over it, you will see this pop over with some more information, and then you can immediately go to a follow-on page that allows you to take some more action. So that's more or less it. We're also continuing to think about geo installation and how to improve that. And then there is a continuous effort to improve our ability to measure sort of the most important things that are relevant to geo. So there is a push to provide a North Star metric. We're currently discussing this, and that may have some implications for the usage ping and what data we are actually wanting to analyze in order to understand how geo is performing. As I said before, backups are currently in essentially the backlog stage. We are looking at specific bug fixes, but other than this, we are probably not going to advance this in 12.10. So as you can see, most of this is sort of a follow-on from 12.9. Given some of the capacity constraints that we operate under now, there's not very much additional work scheduled, and I hope that we can finish off all of those items in 12.10. Thank you very much, and I am going to stop the recording.